Hey everyone, so it's Monday today, and I'm doing the devlog a bit differently this week, whereas I do the work in the day and then record on later what I did. So, following on from last week, I mentioned that I fixed the bullets at the very end of the video. If you saw that, and I did. The way I fixed the bullets was by going onto the enemy prefab. I had a little hit point, and now the bullets target the hit point because it's directly in the centre of the enemy. And how do they work? Well, let me show you the script. So the bullet script, on the seek function it takes in a target, the hit point and the fire point. The fire point is where it's come from, the hit point is where it's going to, and the target is just the enemy it's going for. If there's no target, it will destroy itself. The direction it's going in is from the fire point to the hit point, so you work out by doing hit point minus fire point's position. And it just uses transform.translate to go towards where it needs to go. Now, the bullet has a trigger on it. When something enters the trigger, if it's an enemy, it will call hit target. If hit target's been called, it will get the enemy damage script from the enemy it just hit and do process hit. And as we've discussed before, process hit just does the hit points. And then it will destroy the bullet, which destroys this game object. And that's all there is to it. If we go into our scene, I've actually been doing some things today. Yeah, as you can see, we have custom assets. More of them anyway. You might notice some Z-fighting there. Z-fighting is when two things share coordinates and they don't like it. It's because I had to try and get rid of my idea for the blocks to instantiate themselves in because the rotations weren't working, and we'll get onto that today as well. I am not letting any other enemies spawn right now because I'm trying to test out, trying to get the smooth rotation to work, because smooth movement does work. As you can see, it moves smoothly. All the towers are in correctly, all the blocks look quite nice, and it moves. One issue I did encounter then was that the enemy was moving to the corner. That's because I've messed up the pivots. Something I've learned from today is not mess up your pivots. If you mess up your pivots, redo your pivots. Pivots! I just had to redo the enemy by putting all the objects in Blender and re-exporting it with a correct pivot. This means the rotation of it is much better than it was before. And that's what I've done for today. Smooth movement works, we have custom tiles, and the bullets work, but that was done last week. What I'm going to work on for the rest of the evening and probably some of tomorrow is getting the rotation to work properly. At the moment, it's stuck at a 45-degree angle. Then, it comes to here and it goes to 90 degree. And then it comes to here and goes back to 45. Or 135, I guess. Or 45. Whatever it goes to, it knows it needs to change rotation, it just doesn't do the right rotation. So we will be fixing that. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Hey everyone, so it's Tuesday today, and after I finished last night I actually fixed the issue I was having. Basically pivot, that was literally the main issue for mine. So the enemy, if you couldn't tell, had awful pivots. Like, if I clicked on the enemy itself, its pivot point would be over there. You can check pivot points by doing that, changing the center, and the center pivot point is what the script uses, I believe. And yeah, it was in the corner, so whenever it was rotating around this really weird spot, meaning it couldn't rotate properly. But now, if I go on the enemy object itself, its pivots are pretty much perfect. Like if I rotate this, it rotates exactly where it needs to. And now I've fixed everything. I fixed it by putting the objects from Magic of Voxel into Blender, making it all one object and then exporting that. So now, if we go and look at the model, as you can see here, the model is actually just all the separate parts now. And it means I can still animate them all if I want to. And these are all the different materials. They look weird, but that's just because it's using the palette from Magic of Voxel to do it. I'll show you how it looks in game. Yeah, well, it looks pretty damn good, to be honest. So as you can see, it smoothly moves, gets to a corner, rotates, and goes round. And there we go. It works perfectly now. So on Trello, I've ticked off smooth movements. The last thing to do is making a test level. Now, I haven't actually got any of these bases yet, so what I'm going to do probably is, for the good base that the enemy's trying to get to, I will just put a big tower there because that's a good stand-in. Making these things, I'm not sure what I want yet, so I'll just think of something when it comes. I'm not sure how I want that to look. Maybe do a portal or something, that could look kind of cool. I'll do a portal, that looks kind of cool. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to do for today, and I'll show you what I get when it's done. Right everyone, we're back. What you've just seen is me creating a level. It's not perfect. I mean, obviously I want some more scenery blocks. I want some corner, I need more pieces basically. I need corner pieces. Kind of happy with how this looks. I mean, obviously it's just a big tower with some of the orbs around it. We can do more of that. And there's no enemy base at the moment, but as you've seen the gameplay then, it works. And as you saw before, you can only have 5 towers at a time. That's something I can change. I did add something new to the code. Basically, if the block is not explored, like some of them aren't, because it gets the end target and goes, oh, I don't need to look at those two, well then basically we make it a tower block. I could make it destroy itself, but I think it just looks better being a tower. And I made them their own functions in the code. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this looks. And on Trello, so on Trello, make test level, done. Which means milestone 0.2 is done as well. Takes that to green, and I found out this really cool thing. So if you see the done over here, the confetti. So that's basically everything for 0.2. So the next thing is to score and add more towers. So yeah, I think that's all we're going to get done today. I want to take the rest of the day just to enjoy it a bit and have a bit of a relax. Because the past few days has been a good bit of programming, so I kind of just want to enjoy it. I'm going to work on a little side project of mine, nothing too major, just want to play out with some mechanics. So yeah, we'll pick up tomorrow and we'll start with milestone 0.3. Hey everyone. So it's Thursday today, so I got straight to work this morning on the new milestone, which is changing the score system. And that was relatively simple. I just made it so instead of just saying enemies spawned, it's enemies killed. And then I had to translate that to a score as well. So if you see on Unity, we have a score tracker. The score tracker increases every time you kill an enemy. I did have this connected to how many enemies I killed, like just like that, but it didn't work completely because obviously when you spawn a new tower, I made it so it costs score to place a tower. And that system's now implemented as well. I'll show you in game. So at the start you'll add 1 free tower down, and then once you got to 2, you can place another one. And I can change that with a variable. If you see here in the tower score manager, it updates what score you're on as well. And that's probably all I'll do today. It's relatively simple how I've done it. It just basically, instead of when I instantiate, it does a check there saying, well, have they got this score? If they do have that score, it'll go, okay, they have that score, we can place a tower. It also does another check. Before that, it was like, how many towers have they placed? If it's 0 towers, then they will go, okay, they have 0 towers, let's place 1 initially then, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to get score. I'm going to take it easy today because I have work this afternoon for the entire evening, and I've just realised during lockdown it is quite nice just to don't force yourself to do too much work and just take it easy and just enjoy your time, which is something I'd recommend to everyone. So yeah, we'll see you all tomorrow. Hey everyone. After a morning filled with meetings for university, which I didn't actually remember having, I didn't get much done. But it's now in the afternoon, and this afternoon I'm going to try and get the tower purchasing system in place. If you know what that is, it basically means I want to be able to make it so after you've got a few points you can spend them for a tower. But then, if you have other towers, I want to be able to make it so if you spend more points you can buy a better tower. And I think I have a good way of doing that, so I will come back to you when it's done. Okay everyone, we're back. That didn't take much time at all. I'm surprised by how easy that was to put into the game. So what you're seeing on the screen now, tower selected, average tower. So we have some UI which tells the player what tower they got. Tower factory now has an array of all the different towers in the game. An integer which is the index of what tower it needs to place down. A tower input manager with the value which affects that value there. And I've moved the tower score manager onto this as well to just make it all neater. Now we're going to look at the code. The code is actually relatively simple. So the tower input manager literally just checks what number you're pressing and it will change it to that value. Tower factory gets a bit more interesting with it. So at the start of the game, the tower prefab will always be the first element in the array because that's the first tower, and the text will change to this element's name. In the update function, if you have more than 0 towers placed down, so 1 or more, the tower that you place down will change to whatever element in the array it is, and so will the text. So basically that means you can't choose to place a stronger tower down first, you have to place the weaker one first. When placing a tower, it checks the score. And now this is compared to the points required, and the points required is found in each tower. Each tower I make just needs this tower script on it, and I can choose all its stats. And then it instantiates whatever tower prefab it is, and obviously the tower prefab is based on what current tower we want. Final thing to do for currently for milestone 0.3 is a new tower type. and I wrote pivot down there so I remember to do the pivots correct. At the moment I don't want to delve too much into the art side of the game, I just want to get everything working first. So to make another tower, I'm basically going to take our first tower and just change the colours around. So I'll get to work on that and I'll show you what it looks like in game. Hey everyone, so the final touches for what I wanted to do today took a bit longer than I expected. If you remember from the other day, pivots were a bit of an issue, and pivots were an issue again today. But this time I knew what I was doing, so I had to re-import the tower models into Blender and just sort out all the pivots, and I did that for both towers and the topper. Now, like I said, I didn't actually make a completely different tower, I just changed the colours. And here we have a red tower, because red is stronger. Yeah, why not? Yeah, so red towers should be stronger, and you have a visual difference now. I also did some quality of life changes while I was doing some stuff as well in the behind the scenes. The quality of life changes more come from mainly how you move the towers now. So what would happen before is the tower limit would be 5, and when you try and add another tower after 5, it just moves the first tower in the queue. But then I realised an issue with that would be now that I've got 2 types of towers is if someone wants to place a stronger tower and get rid of an old one, it would just move the old one. So it didn't really work. So what happens now is the first tower in the queue, so the one you placed first, gets destroyed. It does all the same logic as before, so making that block now placeable, and it just instantiates a new tower where you clicked with the tower prefab you wanted. I can show you how it works now. What I'm going to do for testing purposes though is just make the points required for both of these 1. So there we go, we have 1 tower there, another tower there, another tower there. So that's 4, that's 5. So now we've got a strong tower selected. The first tower we placed was this, so when I click here, boom, it moves and it's a strong tower. So it works nicely, and that was a really nice way for me to end off today. And that does mean milestone 0.3 is completed. So we can green that, drag the boy over here, and we'll get our confetti. I do love that little feature. It's a nice way to know what you've done, and when I look back at the game I can see everything I've done. So yeah, that'll probably be the devlog for this week, so thank you everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next week. And if you like this new style of devlog I did where I just talk about stuff after I've done it, let me know. Thanks.